should be good to go. If you're good to go, I'm good to go. But the starters too. All right, and we could keep it on that note right there to talk about that particular case because out of the wild
No, but let's
weekend,
tap in with our
of a
feelings, bro,
lot of
because we
things
had a
that
great weekend. We
happened,
had a great weekend.
a lot
Yeah,
of
we had a
great
great
things that
weekend. I want to
happened.
tap into the great weekend
Hey
first.
man, so we here live, man, on Monday. It's Monday, July 7th.
Gang,
I don't have a
gang.
regular my regular I don't have the screen. I have a still working off of my portable setup, so we still here. Um,
So funny, Al. I could have sworn
Working
that
things
I
together.
heard a crowd clapping.
Nah, we're just so used to it that
Yeah, yeah,
we kind
yeah. I
of
heard it almost.
want that to happen, but we don't have that yet.
Blessings.
But yeah, so we're here, man. Another week,
The
another
80th,
manuscript,
baby.
another manuscript, man. Shooting the shit, live panel discussion. With Al, your boy Rob Hegan, in the
Yes,
building.
sir.
We had some guests recently, so I hope y'all tapped into last week. We had some amazing guests, and hopefully in the near future this summer, we get some more guests on here to just talk about uh, talk about what's going on, but particularly mental health and issues that deal with mental health and men's mental health specifically. And so, yeah, man, mental health did come and go. We are in July now. Last week we spoke about that, which went pretty well, I think, for us. Rob, I think the challenge for ourselves in the last week was to continue meditating and at least try it. And I'll have you know that I spoke to one of our recent guests, Ish, recently, and he felt inspired by that, man. So he ended up meditating some more after we
Oh,
went on
beautiful,
live, man.
man.
So yeah, man, he's been inspired to do that, which is great. So we hope to keep
Love
that
to this,
going.
man. Yeah, love to you,
So
brother.
with that being said, Rob, how you feeling, man? How you coming in today, July 7th, on this Monday, this odd NYC Monday where it was like raining and the sun
Yeah.
is out, and then it's supposed to rain overnight. So we'll see.
Yeah, yeah, it's raining out here. I'm not in NYC. Shout out to Jersey. I'm in Jersey, spending some time with the family. But it is actually raining out here as well.
Mm.
Um, but let's tap in. Like I love to be accurate because if I just don't look at the feelings we and I go by off of like my limited vocabulary, as we were discussing off the air, like I just feel like I feel balanced. I feel peace. I feel joy, gratefulness, gratitude, I guess maybe is the word. And so that's where I'm at, brother.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, man,
how about you?
that's
How
good.
about
That's
you?
good.
How about you?
You shared a lot there. I'm hearing a lot of positive, more side of emotion though. As you're coming on a Monday, which is good, man.
Yeah. It was a beautiful weekend as you got to be a part of it, you know?
Yeah, I'm very, I mean, for me, it's been relaxing so far. Taking in the summer as well. I've had a very eventful weekend, I would say, for July 4th. A
Mhm.
lot of time with family, which is good for me. So I'm feeling relaxed. I'm feeling calm. I'm feeling satisfied. And at the same time, I am carrying, I do believe, a hint of um, mental exhaustion that comes from um, some disappointing things that did happen recently that brought up some old wounds, I think, and then lingered. So I think, carrying some of that still.
Mhm.
And so that's why I say mental exhaustion, because I don't know that I'm physically exhausted. I've been able to rest and lay down, thankfully, um, and I'm grateful for that. But I gotta admit, man, I do think, like today, for example, I had to kind of fight to like, quote unquote, do things, and I get up and, like, this damn dooming phrase of like, be productive. And it's always a haunting thing to tell yourself to be productive, whatever the hell that means, because it's like, as long as we're surviving, as long as we're alive, as long as we could reach out to those we love and just check in and take care of our needs, like, what else can we really do? You know what I mean? That's productive enough.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, I
I
guess
feel it.
I do think, granted, this summer and in general, I've been wanting to be a more productive member of society. So finding out ways I can volunteer more and do things volunteering around the city. Um,
Nice. I
uh,
respect that.
but
That's nice.
yeah, things like basically that. That's where I'm at. So yeah. But I would say I'm more on the positive side, man. Trust. I've been enjoying so far that, like, my month vacation have started off well. trying again, and I myself, I'm trying to take full advantage of it. So anywhere I can move and spend time outdoors, I'm doing it. So yeah. Um,
Love, love.
but yeah, yeah,
It's good
bro.
to hear,
It
bro.
was good, man. Hitting the beach, got some
I got
definitely
a
got some
question
sun
for
out
you
too.
about that. About that.
Super
About that.
clear.
So, I got a question for you about like when you say you're gonna like you're doing it or you're trying to do more things for like the community around the city.
Yeah, around the city, like volunteer at a soup kitchen or maybe at some place where they're handing out food or they need help at a garden. So I was
Right,
looking at
right,
specifically here City Harvest in New York City because I did come in
right.
contact with folks from that organization before. So they do a lot of work with food in NYC, providing folks um, resources like with delivery and of course like food programs for people in need. So yeah, I'm sure they could use somebody this summer to like help pick up delivery, help take food places, So yeah, and in general, gardens around the city always offer volunteer opportunities. So if that's more of your wheelhouse, that's somewhere to volunteer. I'm pretty sure hospitals as well have volunteer opportunities for folks. And then there are like independent organizations that might have volunteer opportunities, like Democracy Now! Actually, for as big as that agency has gotten, they also offer volunteer opportunities. But yeah, that's just some of the few to rattle some off, man. I'm glad you asked. But that's what I'm thinking
I
more along
love.
the lines of doing that, getting my hands in with the people, handing out food literally, man. If I could take these hands and like use that to like help somebody else,
Thanks.
I think that's important.
Would that like would that be fulfilling or like because you said then you're feeling a little mental exhaustion like
I
would
think
that
so.
be a thing? Awesome, awesome, awesome,
Yeah, I think
awesome.
so. I think
I like that.
I think honestly, even looking back at like how much more I did that as a teenager, and then how I was able to maintain so much optimism and positive outlook throughout my life in spite of the background stuff that was happening in my family and
Mm,
whatnot. Because I was also into a lot more volunteer work, so I constantly was in a position to help people, you know, and it's not something I got properly compensated for. So it's really you do things out of love, and you see how you kind of just get repaid on the way people show you their appreciation, show you their gratitude over time. And so yeah, I think those and just thinking back on how much those moments shaped me as a young man. Yeah, knowing how it could continue shaping us as humans. So and now more than ever, man, because I think we got some, as you said, right. There's so much going on, and there's I think some big topics that happened over this past week um, that could rattle us in society. And I think as men, now more than ever, we definitely have to pay attention to. So I have a couple things. I don't know where you would want to begin with. At the start of this, though, we were already talking about one of the crazy news that you brought up to me. Actually,
yeah,
I didn't look into it, but I know did
yeah,
happen. Um,
yeah. I only mentioned that because I have remembered like that literally that happened on July. I remember it happening like not too far from after we were on the like we did our podcast last Monday.
mm-hmm.
And then I was like, damn, like, look at this. Like, man, I wish, not that I wish it happened on Monday, but you know what I mean? Like, I just wish we were able to speak in this and I don't have to wait a few days. Um, but yeah, you're referring to the Disney cruise, correct? Like
Yeah, yeah,
the
the
yeah,
situation,
so
man. There was a man
right, a
apparently.
5-year-old girl.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, a 5-year-old girl and her father were on a cruise. I'm not sure who else a part of the family was there.
yeah. Not sure either.
And what I actually only knew was that the girl fell. I assumed that it was like an accident, a slip up. But what you brought to my attention just right now that I didn't know was that the information got to you that he actually took an action that made that circumstance possible, uh,
Yeah,
which is very important news because it shows that it's not just right. It's not really Disney's fault, right? It's not to say that it's anyone's fault, but it is a thing that began with, to use your word, which I agree, a negligence of the how do you say the magnitude of what could happen, right? Like no one likes to think negatively, and yes, when you're dealing with a 5-year-old on a Disney cruise, you want to make things happen for them. You're the father, you want to make sure they're safe. But apparently, him putting her on a balcony led to her slipping and falling into the water.
yeah.
Oof.
I don't know. You're being a little
Uh-oh.
sarcastic there, Rob. Because I'm like, I sensed a
No,
little bit of
bro.
sarcasm there, man. But well, because
No, bro.
you were calling it pessimism earlier.
Yeah,
You called
yeah.
it
And I was saying I used the
optimism,
wrong word.
but
I
I
found the
want to
right
make
word. It's
sure
critical.
exactly what. Well, because when you brought it up, I know. So I thought, well, okay. When you saw the story, when did you hear about the story? How did you hear about the story? If you don't, you know, because I didn't even ask you that.
I
Um,
believe I heard it the day after. The,
like
the day
it
after
came
or the day
across your
of.
feed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, it came
Yeah,
across your
yeah,
feed.
yeah.
All right. Well, because I don't. Again, I'm trying to remember how. I think I was reading through some news on Reddit and trying to figure out what just trying to look at stuff and online, and I think that's how it popped up in conversation. But slow
See, right
down.
here it says key points. A 5-year-old who
It's a
fell
little
overboard
different.
reportedly fell backward through a porthole on deck 4.
Yeah, porthole. Yeah. Well, so I want folks to be able to see this and make sure I'm not. I don't want to make it seem like I'm reporting something that's not happening. But the BBC,
No, it did happen.
no, no, it happened. That's
Our,
what
our,
people.
our, our only disconnect was, again, I hold myself accountable to say pessimistic wasn't the right word. So I did Google to just be transparent. Where is it? Words to describe only like speaking on the negative side, and pessimistic was there, but it says
Yeah. No, 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 no. But I can ask you to be a hypothetical though. It's very possible to ask you what you would hypothetically do. Because if you could hypothetically wonder and say, I don't think I would jump. I don't think I would jump.
I
You know what
don't
I'm
think she
saying?
would be able to fall. Like I do that.
Well,
I'm the person that lets the child walk, but I'm very like
yeah,
like, and I
right.
want to catch them. I don't just let them run and be like, oh, if they fall, they fall.
Well,
I
again,
just can't do that.
what I see here says
So
like from the
I'm just
BBC,
different.
the ways right, but that's what I'm saying. And I honestly, personally, again, being on a cruise twice, I don't ever see myself jumping off a cruise, bro. Like ever, ever. Even if somebody
Right.
falls, I'll tell you right now, I will definitely think it 5, 20 times because then I'm gonna say two of us are gonna die. My in my thinking, honestly, would be now that's two of us dead versus one of us, because
Which is what I told you. Yeah, I said
especially
that's why I give
because
him props.
because but that's what I'm saying, Rob. That's why look, I have a hard time giving him props for that. If the story, because again, the way I'm reading it is a father jumped into the ocean to save his daughter, right after she fell from the fourth deck of a Disney cruise ship, traveling from the Bahamas to the U.S. And I didn't do the Disney cruise, but I've done a cruise from the Bahamas to the U.S. It says the girl appeared to fall when her father took her picture against a railing. Witness said. A man
Okay.
overboard alert was broadcast on the ship and crew rushed to recover them. The ship was moving quickly, so quickly it's crazy how quickly the people became tiny dots in the sea, and then you lost sight of them. Yes, that's why I would tell you, Rob, that it's a little intense. But I'm sure he did it out of sheer adrenaline, whatever you want to call it, and maybe because he had to, because he tried to take a picture of her against the railing. So when I read that, what comes to my mind is he put her. He said, "Here, stand right here," and he backed up and said, "I'm gonna take a picture," and left her by herself there. Again, I wouldn't do that. I'm not a father. If I wouldn't do that with a 4-year-old anyone's child. Period. Because I've been on a cruise ship, bro, and I'm like it's. I'm surprised he felt that comfortable. If that's how it happened. If it was both of them on it, maybe he was trying to be more careful. But like to your point, I'll hold tighter. So here's where I have a struggle with. Like I would want to like. There's a lot of stories sometimes that have a feel good appeal sometimes, and then it's like I have a hard time like identifying with the stories being feel good when then there's like this context to it, right? So for example, there's a lot of like stories, and I usually see this when I'm doing reels and stuff like that, and I'm watching like reels on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, And I usually see stories of like women, worked over 150 hours 1 week just so she could afford her son that car he always wanted for the end of high school. Like, and then there's beautiful music around it, and people are like, oh my gosh, she's such a super mom. But it's like, why the fuck did she have to work 150 hours of overtime that week just for that? That she shouldn't be killing herself for that type of stuff. So is that a feel good story? It's hard to feel good about something where it's like, yo, we must live in such a fucked up society that we're bigging up things that we probably shouldn't be bigging up, because why does one person have to work so much in the first place to make ends meet? And that's just one example. Like, there's a lot of stories and feel good things that sometimes when you look at them really for what they were, you're like, wait a minute, but did that person really have to go through so much struggle in the first place just to make this basically miracle happen? And it's like, no, they didn't half the times. So, again, even with this father's case, just because again, man to man, like, I'm not trying to be pessimistic, because pessimism is having a shitty view of the
It's the
world.
wrong word.
Like,
Critical. Let's switch
you
it to
know,
critical because I could trash that. That's the wrong word
yeah,
I
I am
used.
being critical of him though, because again, if
So
that
yeah,
if it happened that way, again, if it's a situation where he was innocently trying to take a photo and something broke and he had no idea, then he did what he had to do, and like, thank God both of them, or whatever, thank whoever that they're both alive. Because again, being on cruise ships, and even it says it right here, bro. It says, according to Cruise Line International Association report from 2019, 25 people fell overboard that year on cruise ships in 2019, and only 9 were saved from the water, bro. It's a really low percentage of people who fall in the water of a cruise ship and come
and
out
he
alive.
saved her.
You
He
know,
saved her.
so which
They
is
took
great,
20 minutes
which
to
is
get to her.
great. Like I'm saying, which is great. But my
But I
point,
don't hear you giving him love. That's my
well,
problem
because
with the
I don't
balance.
know that if
Because
he
why
was,
do you take your
well,
stance there?
I don't know
That's
that.
just my
Like,
question.
why would I give him
But
love
you
yet?
explained.
Why
You
would I give? Why
explained.
would I also give him love yet? That's like, again.
My question is why not? Why
Well,
not?
because then
I
okay,
hear you, but you say because everything else. But I hear you, but that doesn't have to do with him. He did. He's not a single mother with
and
all
then
this
okay,
with
and,
the
and he
government.
was
I got you.
and they both survived. So then, what's the story, Rob? If they both would have been killed?
But that didn't happen, Al. So that is a little bit. Is that not pessimist?
Yeah. Well, my whole thing is, why should I give him love?
I hear you
Because it's like I'm giving him love
because you say
for
you wouldn't even jump off.
well, that's what I'm saying. So what? Am I gonna
So I
get
was
hit
like,
then?
yo,
So
that's why I was
am
giving
I
him
back?
love.
Will he be a bad
No, I
father?
don't
Didn't he
hate
jump
you.
off? No, I'm saying, will he be? No, he wouldn't have been a bad father had he not
No,
jumped
but
off.
he would. But he would. No, but it would. It still. It's just. That's what I'm saying. It's not even. I don't focus on
You
that.
know?
I'm just like. I'm focused on that bad or good. I'm just the present, and I
You know
know
what I'm
that the
saying?
present was that was tough. I hear what you're saying. You
For
hear what I'm
sure.
saying?
Yeah, yeah.
That was
No, no,
tough.
I'm saying,
That's
and you want, no,
tough.
of course, and it shouldn't have
And
happened,
that's
is
it.
what I'm saying.
That's
It
all I
shouldn't
was
have
like.
happened.
Well, it's not.
It
It
shouldn't
wasn't
have
his fault
happened.
because I put. I just put.
It shouldn't have
I just
happened.
Googled.
You know what I'm
But let
saying?
me tell you, it wasn't his fault because I just checked out. I just did so much research on trying to find. I try to rewrite how it says it
Me
because
too.
you're saying they
Hmm.
write it. They write it really nicely. So you hear what I'm saying? They write it really nicely. So I try to write child on Disney cruise falls due to father's negligence, and nothing pops up with that. I'm trying to find that information, and everything just says that she lost her balance and stumbled through a porthole. So it's just unfortunate. It's not his fault because he couldn't hold you, a 5-year-old on a Disney cruise. You want to have her on a leash? Sure. But she wanted to take a picture. So she took a picture. It's not
Well,
like,
he
well,
wanted
how
to
was I
take a
supposed to say?
picture of her.
Was I
You
supposed to take
think
a
she wanted to take a
selfie?
picture?
Why not? Why do you think that everything is on him? Why doesn't a child that's
Because he's
five
the
years old?
father, bro. He's the
But
father of
I
a
very,
five-year-old.
but she's 5 years old. She could speak and say, "Daddy,
Yeah.
can you take a picture of me?"
Not on the rail, sweetie. Not on the rail, sweetie. Because I'm the
But
adult
it
and I'm
wasn't
gonna
on
tell
a
you it's
rail.
danger. It's
It
danger.
wasn't on a rail. She slipped, and then who knows if the floor was wet and she slid out.
Nah, she
Like,
did slide out, bro. I've been on a cruise ship, bro. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like,
uh,
I've been on a cruise ship on every
but
deck.
you
Like,
weren't
I've
on
been on the
that
balcony.
cruise, so the structure is not different.
Rob,
It's
I'm just
not
saying.
every ship
I'm just
different.
saying. The way I'm hearing it from you is that you want to shine light on him rescuing her.
I know how I hear it from you is that you want to shine a dark light on
No, I want
the
to
fact
shine
that he
a light.
didn't
I want to shine. Why?
stop
Why does mine
it
have to
from
be a dark
happening.
light? Why does mine have to be a dark light? Hold on. Why does mine have to be
Because
a
it
dark
doesn't
light?
because
Because
it's
I'm just
in the
shining a light on the
shadows. It's
context.
not real. You're making something up that wasn't real. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying that. I just researched it,
All right, so
and
okay,
nobody's
and so
saying
Trump
that.
is also saying that the Epstein files don't
But
exist,
why are
and
you bringing
so
up Trump?
because there's things that in the media that
Is
could
this
always
was
come
this
across.
Donald Trump's child? I don't know what you're doing here to
Well,
make your point. You're bringing
my
up so
whole
many
point
negative
is
people.
right because the whole thing is that
But why?
you just called my light dark
You
light.
just thought that I was being sarcastic when I was
Yeah,
actually
I
trying to
was,
be.
I was,
I
Rob,
was, but
I
but you're not
was,
hearing that.
I
I know
was.
you said that, and
I
do you
said it
hear me say? I know, but hear what my
because
response is to
because
you.
you just because when I was talking, you
Okay,
was like this the whole time.
I'm on the computer, Al. I'm trying to research.
Right,
I'm doing some
while I'm making
multitasking.
my point, and when you spent
I'm
your
hearing
whole
you,
time
Baba.
making your whole point, I was like this,
But
looking at
we're
the
not the
screen to
same,
look at you.
Al. I'm
Oh,
trying to honor what you're saying. What you're saying, I'm
okay.
honoring it by saying, Al, but you're being petty right now. I wasn't ignoring you. I was trying to honor what you said and write it in a way that
And
sounded like
research
what you
something
said.
different, right? Research something different while I'm
No,
talking. So then tell me, well,
I
what I
apologize,
read
brother.
everywhere what I'm reading actually says this. So I know what you
Bro,
just said right now,
no.
but what I was
You're
just
not
reading
even
through
hearing me, bro. You're
says,
taking it, you're being
well,
very defensive.
I'm letting you know how it came across, my brother.
Yeah,
That's
and I'm
all.
telling you what the
That's all.
truth
Oh,
is. I'm telling you
you're
what the
telling me
truth
your
is that,
perspective. I'm telling you how it came across to me, and you're telling me, nah, this is what I
and
meant.
and I apologize for
Okay.
the way it
So,
looked, but you
but that's
can't
my whole
tell me
point.
that I
That's
don't understand, brother. I researched if you need
right.
to see, but you never like to do this because you say that you feel like a child. I like try to research.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? Where is it?
Rob, you're missing my point.
Look, child on Disney Cruise falls due to negligence. I wanted to
Okay.
honor what you were saying because everybody's making it pretty. He
Okay.
saves her. So
Well,
like what you were saying, I was trying to
I
hear what your point was,
just
and I'm
so you
saying, you know
research
what?
something totally different because that wasn't my point, Rob.
Your point was you see. Okay, what was your point, Al?
Initially, when you told me the story, my whole point was that you called it pessimism. I was
I
counteracting.
was wrong. It was critical. We could let that go or not, because it wasn't pessimism. It was critical. I
Okay,
correct myself.
right. So I was being you now saying that I was being critical. So that's my whole point of why I was being
And you
critical
agreed.
is why I was being critical. That's all, Rob. So now I'm shining a
Yeah.
light on something that I believe is critical to the story. So that's why to me it stands out when you automatically called it a dark light. Because now you're saying I'm always coming from a negative place when I'm coming from a critical place. And there's nothing wrong with being critical when these are the things I'm paying attention to. And
If
if
it's balanced,
I did
sure.
I call the dad an asshole? Did I say he's a dickhead? Did I call him bad
You,
names? I just said if this is what he did, I would not do that. And yes, that is negligence if it went down this way. And I've been on cruise ships. I wouldn't do it this way. Did you hear my point about a lot of these feel good stories that
I'm
they get
hearing you.
wrapped up
Yeah.
in being feel
You
good,
brought a bunch of stories up.
right?
Yeah.
I
I'm
only
hearing
brought up
you
one example, Rob, not a bunch of
about the
stories,
woman, and
right?
then you
That's
and
what I'm saying.
yeah.
So one story, not a bunch. Okay.
Well,
So
then I meant that you mentioned that. What about Trump's
so
story when Trump says this?
that's right now because now I was gonna mention how you turned around to do research and I'm like
More
so obviously
stories.
if you research things that you want the internet's gonna give you what you want. It's
That's
gonna
not
give
what
you
I
everything
want.
that you
That's
want.
what you said. You're not hearing. You're not hearing me.
Did you hear me one more time? How I heard the story was that
Can you tone over your tone? Because I'm not liking your
okay,
tone. It sounds very aggressive.
okay,
It's not that
Rob.
defensive.
Okay. So
We're literally
Rob,
not parents. I never been on a
I'm
Disney
trying to
cruise.
clear my point,
It sounds
bro.
very
And everything I'm
personal. Like
saying, you're kind of taking negative, bro. So I don't really know where to take this.
no,
Like we're just
no, no. I'm
discussing
just
our
saying.
different
Like I
ideas,
feel like a
right?
little intense.
I
It
mean,
feels a
it's
little
not
too
that really intense.
intense
I mean,
for me. I say I
okay, okay,
feel I'm shaking as I hold the camera because I'm
okay.
like, where is he taking this?
I I'm just
Where
trying
is
to.
he? Why is he yelling? I feel like you're
I'm
just
not even
being
doing it. I'm
you're
just
upset
bringing
with
my
me.
point.
It feels like you're upset with
No,
me.
I'm just pointing things out, brother. Like Rob, like as what it is. Like to me, I'm not taking things personal because I feel like we can do that. We've been doing this for a whole year, like giving
You
our own
gotta explain that
opinions
to
on
me. I know.
debates. So and see when you make comments like that, that's the part that trips me out because it's like it's kind of like you want the conversation to just go. Every time I mention something, you're like, yeah, I know. No, I know you said that already. So it's like, do
Because
you?
it sounds like you're
So
mansplaining what I already know, brother. I know that we've been here for a year. I know that we had difficult conversations, but I do know also that I have a problem with the fact that you say I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do this, and I've expressed to you that not everybody's gonna make your decision, but that doesn't mean that because they made the decision that you did that you wouldn't make and it didn't go well. That doesn't mean that
I can't be
there
critical of
wasn't
it.
good intentions.
I
You
never
can
said
be
that. I
critical,
never
but you
said
were
that.
saying, but you wouldn't give him love. The fact that you're saying all these
Okay, so
stories
why does it
are
bother you
making
that I?
him a
So why
hero.
does it bother
I'm
you that
like,
I'm
why
not giving
not?
him
Why is
love?
there no balance to that?
Does it
It bothers me
bother
that you
you?
can't, that you take the, yes,
Okay,
yes.
but why does it bother you that I don't give this man that I don't know some love for something that I wouldn't do, I wouldn't identify with? And I do think if it went down in the way that I think I'm reading it was pretty negligent, right? Like I don't know their story, so I'm not gonna say he deserves hell. But I'm also not gonna put him on some like, yo, guys, check out what this guy did, man. Oh, it's such a miracle, man. This guy's great. Like he did this for his daughter. What kind of father wouldn't do that for his daughter? Like I don't know that he should get that kind of
That's
praise. I
sarcasm.
think the
That's sarcasm. You can say that, and it can be real, and you can have your
I think the
stance.
balance for me is to
My
just
God,
read the story as is.
it's
I
crazy.
don't have to give him love, and I also don't have to call him a demon, which I didn't do.
But you
That's
never read the
why.
story. That's what's funny.
And then I
You
read it,
just right now read the
and
story
right,
today,
right. That's what I'm saying. And so
so
still,
you
what
already
I
had
took
an
out,
opinion before you read it.
but when I read it, did it change my mind, Rob?
That's my problem.
Did I read when I read it? Did it change my mind?
You tell me, Al,
No, it did not. Because
because
again,
you already had an opinion
which was
before reading it.
if it was me, I wouldn't do that. That
Amen.
is
And it's
all.
not you
That is
though.
all. So you know what I'm saying? So I don't
But
do that. You know
but
what I mean? Like
no one makes it. No one says that
I've
he
been
put
there
her at the
and I've
edge of
been
a
there. You know what I'm
rail.
saying? I've been there. I've done mistakes, bro, that nobody patted my back and said, yo, even though you made this mistake, bro, I still love you. You're still good. So I made plenty of mistakes and nobody came to rescue me and gave me a hug and tell me like, yo, but you still a man through those mistakes, bro. We still love you. Instead, what I get is people bring it up. People bring up my past mistakes and tell me how, no, remember when you did this? So that's what I got through my life, bro. Like, I've gotten that. And I'm not doing this to this guy because I've gotten that. I'm just saying,
Sounds
like,
like it
no,
when you
well,
say
I
that.
mean, well, have you ever gotten that, Rob? Have you ever?
But let's focus on what you
No, no,
just said.
I just have,
Not
but I'm
to
curious.
smoke and
I'm
mirrors
curious.
this.
I'm curious
What you just
because it's
said,
me and you
Al.
talking. I'm not talking to
But
myself.
I'd rather just focus on what you
Okay, so
just
then,
said
okay.
because you're the one with that
So,
opinion and
like
it
I
was on
said,
you and you don't have to
so
make it
and
comparisons.
he'll be fine. Is my whole point. Like, cause his daughter's fine, thankfully. But that was crazy for him to even do that
You
because
said
there
how
could have been
many
two
people
people dead
fall? How many? You said 25 have fallen and only nine survived,
in
right?
2019. I don't know in 2025 or
It's amazing,
2024.
isn't it? That
In
isn't that a
2024.
miracle?
I mean,
Isn't that
it's
pretty
the
amazing?
numbers. I mean, what's the field goal percentage on that? That doesn't sound too high to me. If you're going 9 for 25,
Wow, wow.
like,
Yeah. All right, so
do you
ah,
want to take your
that's a
chances?
good stand. No, that's a good stand. I'd rather just leave it there. I
You
think
know.
this is a good take. You know
Well,
what I'm saying?
I mean,
Not to
it's
waste
a
a whole
no. I
hour
mean,
on this. You know,
that it means if
I
you
think
jump off
both
a
of our
cruise
stands are
ship,
clear.
if you jump over a cruise ship, chances of you surviving is very small. That's what that means. 9 out of 25 means if you jump off, you're likely not to survive. That's what that means.
Right.
You want me to say it? You want me to look at those numbers and be like, well, you know what? It's a miracle that 9 survived.
No, I don't want you to do anything. I just want. I mean, listen. I'm from me. What I do. I don't want you to do anything. What I do is I bring balance. I agree with you saying that there probably was negligence, right? There probably was, right? But there also was action
Sure,
and faith in action. No, no, sure,
sure,
yes.
yeah,
You see how
sure.
you say sure is no yes or no? It's oh yeah,
I
cool,
mean,
cool,
sure,
cool.
yeah. Because you did the same thing.
Yeah,
Oh, so you could
whatever.
do the same thing when you're done with the conversation, but I can't
What
say
did I
sure, which
do?
I agree.
What did I do? I said yes.
Yeah,
I
when I
said
told,
yes. I gave you a direct yes when
yeah.
you said okay, Al.
So I can't
All
say
right, all
sure,
right.
bro, because yes, action did happen, and I agree. And like I said, I agree you at your point. Like it's not
Okay.
it, like
I didn't.
again,
This is the
there's
first
both
time
of
I
them.
hear that you say you agree with my point.
Well, I don't know. I don't
So I
necessarily.
appreciate that.
I'm not siding with the like giving him love because I don't know what I'm gonna give him love for. If I think
Okay. So you don't agree with my point
it's
that he
if
deserved
I mean
that too.
I thought you had more points than just that though.
I'm
I thought
confused.
you had
I'm
more
hella
points than that.
confused by your point.
I thought you had more
What
points
is
than
your?
that.
My point was that you're imbalanced. Is that you're not wrong, but you're imbalanced and being critical because you're not actually saying you're not judging. You said to judge yourself. You said you wouldn't jump off a cruise,
No, I
and it was
wouldn't.
a 5-year old.
I
And
wouldn't.
let's do the statistics on. All right, fine. So let's start. Okay, fine. Moving on.
I
Let's do
wouldn't.
the statistics on who survived. You think a 5-year old statistics was high to survive? No, he
Yeah.
probably raised the statistics. So he raised the statistics to run up in there and do it.
Yeah.
But I don't hear you giving love to that. That's you know what I'm saying? Love to that. Just love to that.
Well, that's. I mean, like again, that's why it's great to have a balance,
But
and
this
you're my balance,
amen,
Rob.
amen.
I don't give the love,
Amen.
you gonna give the love. You know, so
I
hey,
hope that's not
that's how we have
sarcasm.
to. No, I'm being dead serious, bro. I know. I mean, I'm smiling, bro, because I don't really think this is any like a really like passionate discussion. I'm not really offended by
No,
anything
no,
you're
no,
saying.
yeah, yeah. That's what I was trying to agree to. Like that we're not a part of this. Like that, you know. I don't take it personally. I did feel that I did feel it was like Oh, okay. What? You on the phone?
Found out how she was doing. My fault, bro, because I haven't heard from her like that.
No, that's all right.
But yeah, bro, like it's not, So I'm glad we're on the same page on that note, because I'm like, I listen. I feel like we disagree, and that's fine with me. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't think it has to be anything. I'm not trying to get you on my side in particular, bro. Like, you know, uh,
One thing I do know we agree on is that in terms of water, this flood in Texas is a disaster.
hell yeah. Oh my god, that's a problem, dude. That is a problem. Yeah, man.
That
So
shit, I
so
didn't know that there was, brought it back to my attention because I did hear of it vaguely.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. This is
and
crazy.
then I'd search it, and a whole camp of, like, 27 people from the camp and mad kids were just like they passed, man. That's just
Yeah, man. So I'm trying to
so.
see, like, I'm also sharing the screen here in case, but there's I don't know if the video would play necessarily here just real quick. It's a 1 minute 52 video from CNN, but yeah, I found out
Yeah.
because I saw a video, man, which I don't have my account, but on this computer, but I saw a video, dude, of a freaking a full house moving.
Oh, I think it
Like,
was was it a White House? Because I see
yeah,
it right
see,
here.
yo, crazy, dude. The
Yeah,
whole
yeah, I
house
see it right here.
moving with the
Yeah, that's terrible.
yeah, man, intense stuff. So, you know, so that's how I came across the
Bad,
news.
bad.
So right now, really quickly, because I know we're talking as we're going, but yeah, to Rob's point, bringing up the next big news, aside from the cruise one, was in Texas over the weekend. There was some pretty serious flooding, man. I mean, serious flooding. Uh, to the point where now, as of today, there's been a reported. I got this CNN article up here. More than 100 dead, which is pretty intense, man. Because when I first heard about the flood, I just saw like I saw that scene, what I'm telling you about, and then there was one article that was just reporting the young girls that were missing, about 20 of them or 27. I don't know the exact number right here on the CNN on the CNN article. Well, yeah, yeah. Yeah. And they say, and according to this, it keeps increasing because right here it says that 10 campers and one counselor still are accounted for. So there was some devastating floods that hit central Texas over the weekend, and Camp Mystic, which is an all-girls summer camp that sits along the Guadalupe River, and flooded terribly, is where the reports are coming out for, the unfortunately the young children and the count and the staff, who seem to have perished due to the storms. Jesus Lord, man, I was just in Jones Beach yesterday, and the waves were already reaching an immense height that I'm like, man, this is dangerous. So I can't imagine.
20 feet in an hour. Oh my God. You don't even have time to figure it out. Like
Yeah,
an
man,
hour,
20 feet is pretty high, man.
it
Um,
rose more than 20 feet in an hour. More. I just missed that more than. Ay, ay, ay.
yeah,
Yeah, that's my heart goes to out to,
yeah,
everyone involved, the rescuers, the victims. That can't be easy. Even the people near, because you might not have been affected, but as you know, what waves crash, like
hmm,
there's just residue. There's things that fall through. Like that's sad, bro. That's just so sad. Like you could be so far, but it wash up like baby pictures or just clothes or kuna. Like that's
yeah,
fucking
man.
that's traumatic, bro. That's terrible. That's terrible.
Yeah. So right here, I wanted to I don't know. So in the aftermath of it, there's still
Right,
obviously like issues with like what the hell happened. And here I think
right.
CNN in this article here, there's some questions here which I think a lot of people wondered about. Which one of them being, what actions did the Kerr County officials take to warn the residents about the flood
Mm,
threat? What has been reported so far is that what we do know is that there have been major cuts to agencies and funding due to the recent Dodge right efforts to cut a lot of
mm,
funding to these forecast agencies and places, which would have given them the manpower to detect the weather and its potential damage. So, there is that piece to this. I think another
mm.
question has been, why wasn't there an organized evacuation effort there in 3 hours or so between the dire flood warning from the National Weather Service and the time the river overflowed its banks? Why did some nearby communities, such as Comfort and Kendall County, seem to act on the same weather information in a more serious way? Did Camp Mystic have a flood emergency plan and weather emergency radios, and were they used during the flooding? So already these are big questions even brought up by a major network like CNN, which we know obviously some of this stuff, you know, whatever. But this is big, man. This is big. I mean, like I do fear that this we'll see more of this in
Yeah,
other parts of the country
I mean,
where we have like just really bad weather, man, catastrophic weather, earthquakes, I don't know, you name it, earthquakes, storms, tornadoes, and the United States is vast and very, very, honestly, pretty diverse in terms of the kind of weather we get here. So, we could get it all, man. We
yeah.
get wildfires. Remember the wildfires from California last year that did
Yeah,
severely
yeah.
put
I
a
mean,
stop
that's fires that happened in Laguna Beach,
recently.
right? Laguna, yeah, yeah, yeah. Wildfires. I mean,
Whew.
which is
So
the high, it's weird. Yeah, it's a lot.
So it's pretty intense, man. And I don't know, man. In terms of rescue though, because I mean we did have a very intense conversation about like if we were parents, what would we do in that situation. But do you feel equipped in some sense to handle, like, let's say, I don't know, an event like flooding? I mean, we're here in New York City, so we do get bad hurricanes.
Right,
And I do unfortunately see flooding in our future. I mean, there's been flooding already, just not
right,
terrible
right,
flooding, but like I
right.
could see that in parts of New York City, man, we'll get bad flooding like this, man, where we will probably see 20 foot, waves and whatnot hitting Manhattan, certain parts of Manhattan, and if people aren't ready, so like I don't know, man. Do you feel like, I don't know, equipped? I mean, I don't even know if that's the right word, because how the hell do you even equip yourself with such an emergency? You know what I mean? 20 foot wave that comes at you within an hour, like, and then more. Like, I don't know.
In short, no. I'm not even gonna overthink it. No,
Yeah.
no. But I mean, look at the duality of me not knowing what these things are, what's gonna happen here. In this conversation, I just continue to click things of information and RIP to Julian Ryan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Julian Ryan, a Texas dad, dies after severing an artery trying to save his family in the flood. So you just can't call it, you know what I'm saying? And so for me, it's like that's why I just look at from the beginning, the beginning and the end. You know what I mean? So both, like, right, that father will never make that mistake again on that Disney cruise. But also, God bless that you made a choice that not many would make. That, you know what I'm saying? Like you could have, and look at what happened in an hour in a flood. You were in the ocean, in the ocean,
Mm-hmm.
right? Right? And you were there for like 20 minutes plus trying to to hold on to your daughter. And Disney Cruise came in action. Like, love to everything that happened there. That's where I'm at, was like both, like wow, like just wow. Just wow. No sarcasm, just wow, like whoa. Like that's intense. Like for me, look at me, bro. Like I get anxiety attacks in intense moments when people like. That's why I had to tell you, like, yeah, bro, it's a little intense. I'm shaking over here because I don't like this discourse between a loved one, and especially feeling like, like all I want, like I'm hearing both stories, and all I want is balance. Like it doesn't feel balanced, and I'm not trying to choose. So I probably I try my fucking best. I mean, that's what I would do is try whatever my best is,
Yeah.
and that's it. That's really all I could do. It sucks. He severed the artery. Who knows if he? I'm trying to find out. Did he actually complete his action of trying to save them, or like what happened? What happened? But that's the funny part, right? We weren't there, so we won't know. So all I could do is try to put love into a story of a human. That if I see some love, that's where I was coming from. Like why? Like let me shine light on that. Like because I would hate if people I'm gone and they don't really know my story of how I tried, and they say he should have just like, why did he do that? Just why? And it's like, what do you mean why? I say, why not? Just why not? I hear your whys. Why'd you do it in the first place? But I also don't hear the why not. Like, why not give? You know what I'm saying? All of that. So, but that's just a tangent. Do you like? Do you feel equipped?
I mean, I have some walkie talkies here. I don't know how how
I mean, I
effective
have
they
life vests,
are. You have
but
life
again,
vests. Yeah,
like,
that's what I
yeah,
mean.
I
No,
have
no, I
life
mean, listen,
vests.
shit like that is important, man. A life vest
Yeah, I
is
have life vests
important.
in my closet.
Helmets,
Or
having emergency kits. I do have first aid kits like spread around in major places where I stay. So there's always I have a first aid kit in the car, a first aid kit in the crib. I have a first aid kit that I take with me when I go bike riding. So I have like
nice.
three separate first aid kits for those separate situations if I'm gonna go on the lake. So I definitely, I mean, over the years and just being in certain emergencies, like I try to, because be as I guess prepared as possible. I mean, my next purchase that I want to get is a generator. I do think in case the power goes out, I do wonder. Like, I mean, we haven't had any power outages in a while, at least here in New York City, but we've been blessed. But there has been plenty of power outages happening in other places, and especially here in certain places in New York when we've had bad flooding or bad storms. So I do want to purchase a generator, but yeah, man. I mean, I have umbrellas. What I don't have is like an emergency safe plan with people. I do think that would be more supportive, so that everyone knows, what will be the plan. Hey, in case the power goes out, here's what we do. In case, like, I
Oh,
mean,
so you're prepared.
we've only had one blackout so far that we've experienced in New York City, and I mean, thankfully, like again, I don't know what things happen if I would imagine my mom was pretty lucky because all her kids were not adults, so we all were in the house already. She kept us
Yeah.
close, but God forbid she had her three adult children who were out and about, and the blackout happens and she has no way of contacting us. I know it would have been a very different experience for her as a mother during a blackout. So if God forbid we do get something like that, like I do think it's important to at least have some emergency plan with somebody to be like, yo,
For sure,
if
for
shit
sure.
goes to shit, like I know my way here, find me here because I'll probably go here. And if you don't see me here, like right, like
Yeah.
yeah, man, having emergency cash situation, I do have that. I do have emergency cash that I don't touch at all, just in case shit goes to shit. I mean, I don't know what cash if this is if
Right.
this is a Last of Us
That
scenario,
part.
this
That part.
is a Last of
Wow.
Us Walking Dead scenario. I don't know how much cash would do,
Wow.
but
Yeah, that's actually very interesting you bring that up. Yeah.
but that's
No,
really
because I thought about
the
that. I thought
popular
about
thing
like,
that
wow,
we
like, yeah, no, 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 but it's literally what they're trying to kind of push us to, like, you know what I'm saying? Very technological world, and it's like,
are we prepared?
um,
I keep tools.
how does that survive through water and fire? I understand
Hmm.
cash can burn too,
Hmm.
but I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's very interesting actually. Yeah.
I know you have a bunch of. I know you have
But
raincoats and like shit like that, like
I have
campers.
I have my important stuff in a firebox. You know what I'm saying? I have a firebox
That
with
stuff
things
is
inside
important,
of it.
bro, because we never know, man. And again,
Well, shout out to my mother, man. Shout out to my mother because she brings those things up.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's okay. I mean, on the physical side, I know my cardio could use some more work. I know if it's a down is I know adrenaline can definitely
That's tough.
make us as
That's tough.
humans do
But,
certain things. But I
yeah.
think it's always good to still be in shape. And I know, thankfully, I do get a bit of cardio throughout.
That's
I
tough.
probably could do some more because, again, in the case of emergency, if I had to really run or really, yeah, I'd have to be able to hopefully be in good shape to do those things, man.
Well, can I share something with you on this little on that Julian Ryan? It's just
That's from the one individual from
the
Texas.
Texas
Yeah. Okay.
flood, man. Quite interesting, bro.
Mm.
I think it's a lot, man. I mean, in a weird way, like. So it says Julian Rice's fiance Christina Wilson recalled how the twin. So I believe that they actually survived.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um, Yeah, which is quite interesting.
I mean,
How
hopefully,
many things
hopefully,
could just take. No, no, no. I believe so. And you'll see why as I continue to read because it's the way that this is reading,
yeah,
right? She recalled how the 27. So I'm like, okay, this a recalling of how the 27-year-old, her husband Julian,
hmm
um, rushed to help his loved ones escape as floodwater began filling the Ingram home the couple shared with their children and Ryan's mother. It just started pouring, and this is in quotes that what they said. It just started pouring in, and we had to fight the door to get it closed, just so too much didn't come in. We ran back to the room and we started calling 911. Christina Wilson told KHOU, a CBS affiliate in Houston. So that's why I believe, oh, she's alive.
yeah,
Within 20 minutes, the water was up within 20 minutes, which is what the guy's waste spent in the ocean, the father of that 5-year-old. The water was up to their knees, Wilson said. In desperation, Ryan punched through a window to get Wilson, their children, and his mother to the roof. His heroic act would cost him his life later. The glass severed his artery in his arm and almost cut it clean off, said Wilson. Though the family repeatedly called 911, dialed 911, emergency personnel couldn't reach the home in time to save Ryan's life. And she said, Wilson says, by 6 o'clock, Ryan was dead. He lost all his blood. He looked at me and the kids and my mother in law and said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to make it. I love you all. Ryan's body could not be recovered until the floodwater receded hours later. And I'll just stop there.
mm,
I mean, there's more, but yeah. More than 90 people across 6 counties reportedly died as a result of the flood. In Kerr County alone, at least 90 people, including 27 children, perished. Wow.
yeah,
So
man.
love to his spirit because I'm sure his spirit, well, I believe in things like that. So bear with me, if I don't, it's fine. I love to you, but you know, I would, I would, I would, I would use my imagination and to believe and have faith in the fact that he went in peace, knowing that his final action with even living within all the fear and uncertainty, um, him and God was able to, make that see that out, right? Because it's not everybody's story. To your point of like, 9 survivors, out of so many, and within that just that year, so it's just it's just unfortunate, and I'm happy that that action didn't go in vain. As many people would see it going in vain. It's death is not the end for me when I see it. How I see it now. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, in times of emergency, it's kind of tough to figure out like what people kind of go with try to the 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 gut, I guess, whatever that calling would be. And I guess in the case of people in Texas, I mean, it's hard like a flood because
no, I think of
a
Titanic.
flooding
Oh my God.
flooding seems it may seem easy or something that is not as devastating as, I don't know, like an earthquake, but the anything with water, man, is dangerous. It's dangerous, 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 man. And I think so
Right.
I think most people try to do what they can. Again, I think there's some folks in Texas, so I'd imagine they probably dealt with some form of flooding before, so maybe there was some. I'd imagine for some of the people from those counties in Central Texas, they've had some form of preparation to know how to deal with some floods. But again, when you're caught off guard, it's hard to deal with any sort of bad climate at all, period. And so, and again, dealing with rushing
Right.
water is really really dangerous, man. People think you could swim your way out of rushing water, but you can't. And it's everything you don't see that's being rushed through the water, man. You could jump in that water; it's pushing an object so sharp it pierces through your
Right.
leg, and
Right.
you don't even see it.
Right.
But you thinking because it's flood water,
Right.
you can easily cross it. You think because it's knee high or hip high,
Nope.
you can yeah. But you don't know what's under that
Yeah.
water
So
being moved. So yeah, man, real dangerous situations, and again, so prayers to folks in Texas. If you
very
don't
so.
know about it, I'd recommend some folks check in on it, catch up with it. Again, I recommend a lot of folks and men spend their time looking at this stuff because again, now more than ever, we're gonna need labor. We're gonna probably need hands, man. Because again, in my prediction, I do think a lot of these things are not gonna be uncommon in the future. If things keep getting cut, if funding, very necessary funding, keeps getting cut for the very things that are supposed to help us survive and get through such emergencies, and we will see, unfortunately, more stories like this as well. So I do think we got to get it together, man. More of us. And again, I urge more of our guys, man. We got to do more putting our foot to the ground. That's what I mentioned earlier, man. I know I just want to be more within the people as again get back to volunteering, man, because people need help, bro. People need help, and I don't want to wait till there's a metaphorical flooding to happen to then start going outside to help people. People need help right now. And we need, again, because what I did see over the weekend that some men participated in, which I feel like had to be a fucking joke, was after the Diddy verdict. And so, I saw some men
Mm.
go to courthouses. And I thought that was a fucking joke. I don't know if you've seen that, Rob. You seen people
I've seen the
throwing
baby
baby
oil
oil.
fly,
I'm like, what? Are we living in an alternate
and
universe? Is this real? What I'm watching, is this not AI? Like, I don't even know what the word is to explain.
I was disgusted. I was
Bro,
disappointed.
I'm
I
like,
was
is this
disappointed.
real?
Maybe, yeah.
Is
I was
this
disgusted
real?
and disappointed.
Is this
Yeah.
real? But yeah, that really happened. And
I
I think as
wasn't
men,
shocked. I wasn't
I was
shocked.
like, I can't believe there's a grown ass man throwing baby oil in the court celebrating for Diddy's victory. So, or I guess quote unquote court victory. I mean, so we'll go through that real quick, man. I think we should revisit this story. I know it's been on some people's mind. I'm not going to say everyone
Yeah.
because I do think there are people who do choose to ignore this story, act like it don't exist, and heard about it once and heard about the quote unquote freak offs, and now that's all they could think about when they think of Diddy. Which, actually, I don't know if you recall that I mentioned that, Rob, in one of our earlier shows, that that was my fear when this was first coming out. Is are we joking too much? Is the focus going to be on the quote unquote freak offs? And are we going to
Right.
make fun of the baby oil and stuff and forget that there were real people hurt as a result of the
Right.
actions of this individual?
Right.
Not only
Right. Right.
him, the people who also
I see, and everybody, the 34
and,
witnesses.
and people who just allowed him to do the things that he did, because we also talked about, right, like this, he doesn't work alone. He doesn't work alone. For him to have done the damage to the amount of people that he done, he's had to have enablers, people that turn a blind eye to his behavior. And so over the week we didn't talk about this, but yeah, Diddy finally got, uh, I guess his
Well, the trial came
to
to
a
an
to a
end,
close. It came to an
apparently.
end. Yeah. So apparently,
Yes,
so
that's
now,
as far as we could say
yeah,
that is a true statement
yeah.
because I'm reading a lot of things that are like his sentencing, however, is still to be determined. I'm reading now that, it could be just 2 years, it could be 10, or it could be two. And then also, um, he's been in jail since September 16th, um, or September 14th, either or since September. And apparently that will be deducted from the sentence,
Okay.
which is kind of like, oh, that's cheap. So if you give him 2 years, he's already been there for like 6 months. So it's
So
like a
yeah,
year and a half.
yeah. And he could probably get
It's,
off a good time, good behavior, as they called it, right?
it's cheap, bro. It's real cheap. I mean, listen, I gotta be honest of like, when the final question is asked of like, what do you want? Right? I don't really know what I want out of this.
Hmm.
I kind of don't want anything. I just want, like, again, when I talk about balance, it's like, if those people felt harmed and don't feel safe, then I want to bring balance to that. I want them to feel safe. I want that harm to heal, right? So I'm not a petty person, right? Like, if I ever was, I'm no longer that. I've evolved to trying to find balance and not to be like everything else that is out here. So I don't want to see him just go and suffer more because that doesn't eliminate the monster from within. That just creates more evolved monsters with more complexities, right? So I just want this to mellow out, figure it out, and flatten this complex plane that we're on with all these hills and valleys that like hills and valleys. You shine a light. There are many shadows. We gotta even this out. And I just don't know how to do that. So I don't know what I want, right? But what I do know is that when people come and they be like picky and choosy and act like they know what they know, that doesn't feel right to me. Coming out and throwing on baby oil because you're choosing one side, coming out and saying he's the devil, throw him away, put him with like I want him dead. That doesn't. It just feels like it's again always just one sided, and I'm trying to again, just like as you see, even in my weekend of trying to bring things together. But when you even try to do that, you can't do it alone. You know the people who didn't come to this weekend, and you know what I'm saying. Like it's unfortunate, right? Because no matter how much love and all the fruits that I have to bear and give, it's not my garden. It's your garden. It's what you do with it. So it's like, why is nobody really focused on the victims and Diddy? They're just focused on how they feel and what they would do and what they didn't do. And it's just a very alarming. It's just very alarming because like it's scary. It's scary. It just instills more fear because what's gonna happen, bro? Like so all the other people, he's not the only fucking predator out here. And like you say, he's not alone. So what are we really watching here? What do we really want? Like it's a lot. It's a lot. It's over, and that's what I say about that overwhelming thing of like, love to you that you can go out in action and do that for people that are just human and that's all you need to know is that they're human and need help. For me, that's overwhelming. And for me, the people that I know right by my side are going through a lot and they need help. And you know what I'm saying? And that's why I love this about us. Cause you know what I'm saying? We always came off even as a young kids learning about all this shit. We did very much come across as Martin and Malcolm. And those at some point where the world was opposing, like putting them as opposing things. But love that at the very end, they had a common goal. And it was peace. It was not, you know what I'm saying? It was common of like, yo, humanity shouldn't suffer. What's up? Why are we doing this to ourselves? You know? You were gonna say something.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think with this trial, it's very, it's a good, interesting question when you phrase what do you want from this? Because I didn't, I think it's good to for those who are paying attention, for those who are invested. I mean, my investment in this is just to see basically another abuser walk. I've seen plenty of abusers in my life, from rich to poor ones, walk, quote unquote, and they get to live their lives. And there's people who support him. So my discomfort with this case is really like the egregiousness
Mm,
of it. Like, people are really celebrating the fact that, okay, so he's not a kingpin sex trafficker, but he's an abusive alcoholic freak who likes orgies and stuff. I'm like, well, that's still a problem. So it's like saying, well, he's not that bad because he's not like a kingpin sex trafficker. He's just an abuser. He's just an abuser. All he did was beat Cassie, and like, I'm like, that's fucking crazy that people are actually celebrating something that this guy still actually represents is not good. And that's my issue, because I've seen time and again abusers get to walk away with no accountability. And often, my stance is that, because I've been there, I've taken both approach. I've taken the hard approach on abusers, where I was like, all abusers should die. So I was like, wait a minute, now all abusers are the same. I can't speak like that. Like, some abusers do need help. I tried working with abusers, with abusive people, to the, what I'm saying? Like, I've gone that far. And so where I stand now is that I definitely don't think these folks should get any love. Like, if you want to celebrate Diddy because you really love him and you see the human side of him who grew up or whatever, then sure, do that in silence. But this whole facade, I mean, not facade, but this whole like theatrics and circus of like the baby oil, I honestly think that might be Diddy's people. The like, I guess you could call it the pessimistic. I would say the pessimistic side of me, but or maybe the tinfoil conspiracy theorist in me thinks that is Diddy's people who paid off those people to do that kind of circus thing outside, because it creates a distraction, right? And then the stuff becomes a joke, and then it becomes about baby oil, and it becomes about freak offs,
yeah,
and then again,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then
for
and
sure,
then
for
the
sure.
real serious crimes. Because again, I even honestly, I'm a little uncomfortable with that he's even being called freak offs. Like, okay, it's one thing to enjoy threesomes and even orgies. There are people that consent to that and are okay with that, and as well, they're not fucking freaks. Okay, when it comes to sexuality, people can enjoy what they enjoy, and as long as it's consensual, it's okay. Just because you're not into something and someone else is, they should not be a freak for it. So I'm even uncomfortable with the fact that this keeps getting called a freak off. Like,
Yeah.
he's a freak. He likes threesomes. There's a lot of niggas I know who love threesomes and who would wish to have threesomes. You know what I'm saying? So like, is every man, almost a lot of men that I know freaks? Like, let's not go there. You know what I'm saying? I think it's silly to use that kind of language, and it's dangerous. But again, I also think it's for certain people and certain PR, public relations. I think it's purposeful. I think it's purposeful to make this about freak offs and make it about drugs and make it about alcohol, so that all the accountability gets away from Diddy. So, I is he a sex trafficker or not? I don't give a shit. But I already knew he wasn't even going to be held accountable for his abuse, and so that's where it even starts in the first place. Like, if you can't even hold him accountable for his interpersonal and personal abuse,
I think he is though.
like,
I'm not sure, but I
you
think he
know,
is. I
uh,
think he is, bro.
um,
I think he
um,
is being, but the problem is
held
like
accountable
to
in what
your
way?
point.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's being held
Like
accountable.
those. Yeah, yeah. Like those are the
Like, in what
counts
way?
that they have him on. Like like those counts that's the only reason why he'll be put to jail
I
for
thought he,
that
I
abuse.
thought he was only gonna be put to jail for like paying sex workers to cross state lines and paying for sex, and technically he got his is not because he was abusive. So the abuse and stuff that got brought up was used to sway the jury and to say like this is really
Oh,
a bad guy.
I think it might be right because it says the defense conceded violence in his personal
Yes,
relationship.
but he was found
Like,
guilty
but they
of
conceded.
transportation. They conceded. That's what I'm saying. They kind of like, it's something
They
that,
kind of gave up.
yeah,
Right,
they
right.
gave up on
I'm
that.
trying to.
But it says here, according to the CBS News, he was found guilty of transportation to engage in prostitution, and
Yeah, I see
but
that
was
too.
acquitted of most serious charges. So,
So lame.
it's just, I don't know, man.
So
I'm not
lame.
gonna lie
So
that I'm a bit
lame.
uncomfortable by this decision because,
It's
I
lame.
could see Diddy going away for 1 or 2 years, coming back, rebranded, and people are gonna accept him because he
Yeah.
makes fire music. He gave us Biggie. He gave us, you know what I'm saying, and we're gonna forget this man. And sure, again, was he like
When
this?
we get in trouble if I stick up the finger, will we get in trouble for that?
I don't know. It might be a little kind.
So y'all
You
know what
know.
it is. Y'all go ahead, Photoshop that into there, because that's where I'm at with that, bro.
Well, it's
Real Fonzo
yeah.
energy, real Fonzo energy with a smile. You know what I'm saying? Like for real, bro. That's messed up, bro. After all you see that, you even see how he reacted. You see, like, you hear it in the voice notes. You see it in the text messages. They damn near got a video. They got me a video. How bad do it? My thing I told man is like, how bad does it have to get for you to then change? See, I already helped myself. God
But
bless.
he's
See,
not.
this
He
is what
doesn't. But people like him don't get held accountable, Rob. So I'm not surprised by
it's
this.
interesting.
And
It's very
again, I've
interesting
been on
because I think
here.
that's
You could
weak to
roll the
me.
tape. You could roll the tape.
No,
People. I'm
yeah,
saying
yeah, yeah.
I've knew that he was this kind of person, but again, like
No,
I said,
yeah.
abusers, bro, they get their way, and abusers with money definitely get their way. So
Well, there's somebody who said that
I'm not.
that one of the prosecutors was saying like
I'm not
his
too
arguments
surprised.
led to a fiery response from prosecutor Maureen Comey, who said the only thing exceptional about this defendant is his wealth and his violence and his brassness. She called Combs an extremely violent man with an enormous temper who continued to use drugs even though he knew he was being investigated. You know what I'm saying? So
I mean,
it's
it's a different
and
world
then
for
and
people
then
that rich.
and then and then and then the defendants were like, I think we should trust him, right? And which is just listen,
Well, I think
man.
it's important for
This is
people.
why I sometimes I don't deal with the people of human, right? Like to
Mm,
your point, you're not going to a difficult place to deal with people who don't want help. You're going to a place. You're going to put yourself in places where those people want help, right? And so my message to those people who are trying to help, though, don't stop helping those who don't want to be helped, because there are people like me and Al who want to help you in many different ways. But you need to want to be helped. Don't no excuses, no blaming, no criticism, no defensiveness, no finger pointing, none of that, right? Like you can put yourself in a good position, and I've been in bad positions that could have been blamed on me for the outside looking in. But when they got bad, what I did, I got out of that. And I still held on to love. And all those nine fruits that I'm not going to get into because you might not believe it. Not you, but the people watching, you might not believe it. But whatever you believe in, I hope that is something that everyone could believe in, like peace, self-control, right? Come on, y'all. Like, what's up with y'all, right? We don't we love joy? We don't love chaos. Not everybody loves chaos, but everyone loves joy.
Yeah.
So what's up with y'all, man? Y'all like getting y'all ass beat more than y'all like getting hugs?
Yeah, I think
Let's be real.
it's people
I'm keeping it intense.
we
So
don't
excuse me for my intensity, but I gotta keep it intense because this is
we
like
don't
you
know what
said.
to do with
This
this. We don't know what to
this
do with this.
bothers me.
Yeah, we're not gonna. I don't think I don't
Hands
know as a
free, baby.
society
It's got
we
nothing to
want
do
this.
with me.
But let's see.
Yeah,
Well,
it's got nothing to.
let's see how it moves forward. Because I do think that with the stories that came out about Cassie and stuff like that, I think that swayed public opinion, and folks do believe she has a lot of responsibility now over what happened. Again, the fact that stuff was focused on being the freak offs and just the crazy sex that they were having, then I think that took away from his abusive nature. And again, I think that works to an abuser's mo, and like it works to their objective to maintain control and dominance, right? If you sway public perception to think you're not the one at fault, then or that your abuse is not really abuse, it's just a mistake, then that helps, and again, and this is somebody with money. I see how that works for people without money. um, how they're able to how swaying public opinion allows them to still maintain their dominance and abuse. So we'll see. I mean, I know in here we were not gonna have much praise for Diddy, but
No, no, yeah, yeah, yeah,
I don't know
yeah. We
that.
ain't gotta. We I love.
You know what I'm saying?
We don't gotta. We agree on that. We
I
ain't.
don't.
There's no
I know in
disagreement
here
there.
we're gonna do our part to make sure that people remember and don't forget. Whether that's gonna be 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, but
But indefinitely,
we'll see.
indefinitely,
We'll see.
indefinitely,
You know,
indefinitely. You know what you gotta do,
and
Diddy,
okay. Well,
for
here's some
me to
balance.
feel better about what you
I
did.
was gonna say, let me throw some balance. I was be like, however, Rob, if
God,
he does happen, there is a world where if he,
redeem
if
himself.
redeem himself, yes,
Yeah,
then that's a
but
different
there's a lot
conversation.
of work to do.
Yeah,
And guess what? And guess what? It's not what you say, Diddy. There's nothing you can do or say to actually do that. Is balance. There's two. I say both and God. So it's you and your abusers. All right. So I want your abusers need to feel healed. Your abusers need to feel safe.
well,
If they
the survivors.
continue,
Sorry, yeah, yeah. We want to make
excuse
sure
me,
folks are not
yes.
saying, yeah. So the
Excuse
survivors,
me.
the
Yes,
victims,
those
yeah,
victims.
yeah,
Excuse me. Not excuse me. Right, 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 right. Love, love. Thank you, thank you. Right. If their testimony is that they feel that
yes,
you don't push that,
yep,
you don't
yep,
force that,
yep, yep.
and when you keep doing that and changing your name and forcing it down people's throats, you only make it even harder. I'm choking, bro. I'm choking. I'm choking. But guess what? That's not real, is it? I'm not choking. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. That's funny, right? When Tupac says, "Oh, it's a problem," but I'm not gonna let them know it's a problem.
Yeah.
Just fuck that, because you're gonna understand. Because let me get up there. Let me get up there and make good boy records, good man records. Matter of fact, not bad boy, no boys, good man records. Right? Let me do that. Good savior, the savior records. Let's do that. Because it pisses me off when I say love that I even have to hear that this man took on the identity of love. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna fuck shit up for me. You're not gonna keep changing your name to every nine fruit and make me feel like I gotta change shit. No, your actions speak louder than your words. And your actions show. Your actions show.
Yeah, man. Well said. I couldn't have said it any better myself. But yeah,
Forgive me,
man. We'll see.
anybody, if my, I'm saying
We'll
trigger
see what
warning,
goes.
forgive me for my intensity, y'all.
Mm.
Like I'm talking about these nasty things.
Yeah.
And so I get like this and I get a little bit out of character, I'll say, because this is me. But this is me when I got to address things that are not of me. I don't hold that shit in. I'm not some nasty motherfucker. I love sex too, right? We already shared that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't do that with people that it's not imbalanced. I don't have to use money or manipulation tactics or make you believe something and then add a third party and do some funny, funky shit. No, I'm very one-on-one. I'm very personal with it. I'm very private with it. You know what I'm saying? It's very love for me. There's no miscommunications. And I can say that boldly that there will never be a misunderstanding in my past in terms of love. Hold me to that. You feel me? And that's what you got to be able to say, bro. Real shit. A lot of people can't say that, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to die and ain't no dark secrets coming out of me because I know what's important.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So love to y'all that trying to live that poo 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 poo. Let's do that. Let's do that for the rosters, for everybody who was out here intense but living boldly and living freely. Let's keep that up and don't hide out here, especially if you're a good person. Don't let this weird shit out here keep you indoors. Stay loud and and go and prove Pac wrong in heaven, where they say that there are no loud. He said there won't. You don't see no loud 30-year-olds. Oh well, nice to meet you, Pac. Nice to meet you. Love. And I'm not the only one.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. So make sure y'all be safe. Make sure you're always also, like Rob said, being informed. More importantly, do not let these
Yeah,
things
man.
get to you. Just because a jury didn't found him guilty doesn't mean he's an innocent man necessarily. There's still some things that I think he should held accountable for, account to, and especially his very
10,000.
harmful behavior. And I think if you see that anywhere else, I think it twice. I think twice about who you are supporting and who gets off easily for their really harmful behavior, because it's very easy to do so. But yeah, man, we definitely are almost hitting our 1 hour and 30
We're
mark,
on that
man.
point, baby.
Yeah, 1 hour and 30 marks. So it's about to be 10. It's
Love
about
to
10
you,
tomorrow at this
brother.
moment. So, yeah, man, shout out to the Manuscript again. We talked about some crazy stories, the flooding in Texas again. Hearts out
Man, yeah.
to Texas. Of course, a Diddy verdict happened as well. So we went back to that. We did cover some of it in the beginning when it was first happening. We gave our thoughts. We even went over the Cassie video and stuff like that. And yeah, more to come. I think
Oh, I got a question
we'll
for you.
continue having thoughts on it. But yeah, sure. What's up, bro?
Do we have, to be on a positive note, and love to ish was influenced. Do we have any challenges for this week? Because I don't think we do. But would we like to create
Yeah,
one?
I don't know. We could definitely continue that, man, in the spirit of men's mental health and to keeping our own mental health
Yeah, man.
in a good space, and to provide that balance for ourselves. I'm not sure. It's gonna be a rainy week here in New York City.
Okay.
I'm not sure what do you have
So is
anything
it
in mind?
an indoor challenge? No, I'm flowing with you. I didn't know it
Yeah.
was gonna be a rainy week.
Well, I
So
do
could
want to
it
go
be
back
an
to
indoor
journaling.
challenge?
Journaling,
Okay.
yeah. If possible, I think, and then I think I want to challenge. Poetry's been something that's been in the air. I know you've introduced me to some fire poets recently. So what if we challenge ourselves to journal at least 3 times this week and include a poem? And it doesn't have to be something, obviously, no intense, no judgment, no judgment. It doesn't have to be the best.
Amen. Amen.
And I only say that because I'll be the first to judge myself. I'll be like, this doesn't sound cool, or this don't have no metaphors, and I won't write shit. You know what I mean? So I'll be the first to be like, I ain't writing no poem. It doesn't sound cool. So I'm gonna be the first to tell myself, nah, man, write what you feel because poetry is about feeling. It is about expressing oneself and trying to express oneself in a through a creative outlet of poetry. So I'm gonna give it a try. I'm
I
gonna
like that.
look up. I know there's
I
some.
appreciate
I
you
know
for
there's
that.
different forms of poetry too, so I might look some up.
Yeah.
Just to refresh my memory on the styles.
Nice.
I know I
Nice.
like
Nice.
haikus.
Nice.
I might write a couple haikus. Um,
Oh,
though that's like the what the was 5 syllables, four
I
syllables.
forget. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
something like
So
that. It's
yeah,
very short.
short
But
stanzas.
I it's been, yeah. I was never really I never really was good. I felt that at haikus.
Yeah.
Like
So.
when you had to try, shout out Miss P. You had
Hmm.
to try shit like that.
So
Yeah, man.
yeah,
Interesting.
what do you think about that? So
I
three
love that
three
actually. I
journal
really love
entries
that.
and either I don't know if 3 journal entries
And a
plus a
poem.
poem and a poem. Okay, so I make it four,
Yeah.
kind of like 4 entries. Yeah,
I mean, guys, if you're following with us and you're trying this, again, no,
it's a goal. No, like, yeah,
yeah, there's no, yeah, and there's no like falling short is of the mind,
mm-hmm.
and it's okay. Like even love to Kobe, like failure, there's no success without failure,
Yeah, as
so
long
it's
as you
okay.
do.
It's not failure.
Yeah, as long as you do.
Yeah,
As long as you do.
one poem, one, and you know what I'm saying, just one, just try,
Exactly.
just
Just
try.
try. So
And I love what you did there because that's the next part of sharing is very vulnerable.
yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
so
But that is
yeah,
the main
man,
part of it. So I think
I
obviously
like that. I like that.
sharing journal entries is more private. But we could share
Yeah.
poems. I think that would be cool.
But we, yeah, no, we will
Um,
share something.
yeah,
Whatever else, yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Love to you, bro. I like that. I really, I'm with
Yeah,
that.
no, I don't know, get into creative.
I'm
Well,
with
I
that.
thought about it because you put me onto some dope poetries. So
I love
that's
that.
why it was in
I
my
love
head.
that.
As a potential challenge.
That shit just came out, bro. That was fire. Like
Yeah,
that's what's up. I fucks with that heavy. That's
yeah,
it. So that's the goal, y'all. Y'all
yeah,
heard it here first, man.
yeah, man. So three journal entries for the week and one poem.
Love.
Nice, nice,
I love
nice.
that.
Yeah, for the manuscript, man. Well, we will get back to this next week. I'm gonna just put this on the docket for now, but there was another bill I did want to discuss and go over. The big beautiful bill, as it's actually phrased and called, and it's gonna be put into law, which was signed over the weekend intensely, right? So some people may know, Rob, you look a little confused, so I'm gonna try
Well,
to
I did hear about like
I'm gonna try to
not to
give you
cut
the
you off, but
yeah.
just to add, like I did, I want to hear this. But I heard about I thought it was cuts, like about like people losing Medicaid or
Yeah,
like
which is the contradict,
does that have to do with this?
which is the I don't know. To me, I call it sickening, but it's definitely a contradiction to call it the big beautiful bill when there's nothing beautiful about it for most Americans.
That's why this face is. I'm
Yeah,
confused.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So it's I mean ridiculous cuts. I mean, we're talking about over 3 million people losing access
SNAP
to SNAP
benefits.
benefits. Yeah, over 10 million potential Medicaid losses. Not potential; it's looking
Yeah.
like it projected actually.
Yes.
And then there's also other things in there that I find like pretty sneaky. Decisions that I think are also gonna have devastating impact. One of them that stood out to me was that the Senate actually I was looking at it. Where was it? They went against the regulation of AI. There was a proposal. Um,
These guys, man, these people are crazy. I'm
uh,
listening to you. I'm reacting to what you're saying. Yeah,
yeah.
that's crazy.
Oh no, no, no. Sorry,
I'm
that's
trying to
I meant it wrong because one of the positives is that there was a proposal
stay there.
that was
It's just cut.
there was a proposal to remove the regulations from AI. The states agreed to not do that, so they are going to continue regulating AI, which is good. Which is good.
Um,
We want that, but there's other things in there that's yeah, it's very fascinating. Another
I'm
thing that
following with you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, another big one is there's money, a lot of money being put into defense, particularly ICE. So I think they're getting somewhere like they're getting an insane amount of an insane number of money over the next few years as a result of this bill. So um, what does that mean? To give ICE more money. Does that mean more detention? More than likely, yes. Does that mean
Yeah.
more deportations? More than likely, yes. So yeah, so we'll get back to it next week because I'm sure there's still a lot more coming out about this bill as it was just
Yeah.
decided on by July 4th, which Trump wanted it to be so. So heading into the weekend, I think that was again very strategic. He wanted a vote in right as we hit a holiday where everybody is all about barbecuing, grilling, and drinking, which we had a chance to do that, man. So shout out to the family, man. We had a good time this week.
Love, love,
But I
love.
do want to flip it and still end it on a positive note, man, because we still had a chance to get. Because again, no matter how much crazy shit happens in the background, which a lot of crazy shit has been happening, that's why it's like I do appreciate just having moments with people you love because you do never know how when things could flip on a dime. So, we were having fun, and yes, things were happening in the background, but it's like, look, but that's why we're here.
Yeah.
That's why because we could have
Yeah.
been alone in our own little bubbles, and crazy stuff is still happening, which is going to,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
working against us even being able to get together. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Love, man. Love to that.
Time together is crucial. So if you could do so, please do so with folks you love.
And it's limited.
And
It's
it's limited.
limited.
So definitely do that, man. But anyway, on that note, man, I'm ready to sign off. Rob, if you good, so do so, bro.
Same, same, brother. It feels very beautiful. Thank
Nice,
you.
nice, nice, man.
And thank y'all for attending, man. Thank y'all
Appreciate
for
you tapping
watching.
in, man.
Future, present, past people, everybody. Love. Thank you.
Thank y'all, man. And I guess we'll sign off regular. I'll keep the other screen up because I don't have our regular sign off, so we'll leave it at that. We'll sign
Y'all
off
already
regular.
know it's Rob
Shout out to Scooter
Hegan.
and AL-BEATZ, man, or ALBYBEATZ. You already know, man. Wait till the
Yes,
next
sir.
one, and we haven't forgotten about the music, dogs. Like we've been a little,
Oh, nah.
we've been
We've
a
been
little
cooking.
lazy. We've been cooking, but we've been a little lazy on putting the material out for
I'm
folks to see.
showing them.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
but yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
In
listen.
the background
If
is estamos cocinando, estamos cocinando.
trust,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
trust
yeah, yeah,
us,
yeah, yeah.
please.
Estamos cocinando.
It's a safe
Uh,
space, and yeah, we trust you.
yeah,
You
yeah,
trust
yeah,
us.
yeah, yeah.
We working, baby.
Man, I know y'all would love to see it. The background work that we do because it's always fun. I did
Yo,
see.
Al, if you could send me that beat that I was working on in the first session that you said, yo, you got a little something there.
But bro, that
Uh,
was freestyle. Like I made that on the spot.
yeah, freestyle on that,
But
Papa. Keep those sounds up. Don't say have fun and try to. I
so
don't know.
we're gonna have to meet again, bro. Because I'm gonna have to get that energy from
Gangster,
you,
gangster,
so that you could
gangster,
come up from
gangster,
me, and then it's reciprocal. You know what I'm saying?
gangster.
That's how.
Love.
Yeah, a lot of magic, man. So that's what I'm saying. Stuff like that. I'm pretty sure folks would love to see us
Yeah,
cook
man.
up like
All
that.
right, and
And
follow us on our Twitch
yeah,
because
yeah,
we was
yeah,
on
yeah. We
Twitch.
were on Twitch. We were on Twitch. That's right. The 80th prod. We are on Twitch. We did do
Yeah.
something, a quick little cook up recently, so that was pretty cool.
Yes,
But
sir. I
um,
throw a little sign on my Instagram, real y'all. Major he well, Rob underscore Hegan.
yes, yes, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, there was some fire
If
stuff, man.
I
But the music
I'll
is
be
there, man.
beats.
The music is there, man. The music is there. And like Rob
So
said,
love to you, man. Yeah.
we got some stuff cooking. So hopefully this summer we'll get some cool stuff content. The summer's still pretty long, so yeah,
Oh yeah.
there'll be more beat sessions, more jam sessions for y'all to tune into, man. And all right, with that being said, again, it's the Manuscript, y'all, the 80th Productions. You already know. Peace.